Revly was a tank. Basically, a sewage tank. Basically, he was full of shit. Every day, all day. He was so full of shit that everyone called him the shit tank. But he said, "Fuck you, that's my job." And I burped. Chance was another engine who was an experiment. Although, she was slightly more successful than the other experiments. But in the end, her shoddiness would come to her as one day, when she tried to pull a train, it was too heavy for her and her wheels fell off. Erin, what the fuck? Erin was an engine that was conceived as a mutant version of Gordon and Emily, but somehow she was fucking useless every day, all day, and all the time. What the fuck went wrong with her? Well, her boiler was a shoddy construction, her firebox was too small, and she couldn't make up steam. The Fat Controller said, I've run it with this useless shit. And then she was thrown down the toilet. Sorik was a bit more of a sound concept mind. He was a little diesel engine on rails, but he was the inspector's own personal transport. At least he wanted to be. Because one day, things went terribly wrong. When the inspector was travelling round the island, he went on to Thomas's branch line, but then he got his willy caught in the gearbox. Boy, it was such an embarrassment and a pain that he would never shake off. And Sorik became known as, "My willy got trapped in the gearbox." Oh, fucking hell. Fuck. This useless pile of shit here was another experiment with two faces. One on the smoke box, another on the other side of him. But he was so cursed that he didn't have the ability to wipe his ass. DJ. Another well-meaning engine mod. He was built of spare parts. However, the fact that he was built out of all those spare parts meant that his reliability was questionable at the least. One day, when he was running around the island, his wheels fell off and he fell into a ditch. He couldn't be pulled out because his design was so fucked up. So they left him in the ditch and he just rusted until they scrapped his ass on sight. Chenholin. The people at the army decided to go to a pub for a night out because the drinks at the barracks were not good enough. And when they were at pub, they decided to make this thing here. It was an army vehicle that was meant to run on rails, although the result was anything but honourable. He wanted to be a soldier, but he didn't even have the intelligence to wipe his ass. Oh. Shaniey was basically a cross between a steam engine and a boat. The owner, whoever designed him, intended to use him on both the rails and the water, but the experiment was unsuccessful, and when he was on the water one day, he sprung a leak and sunk. Nobody ever found him, and no one ever gave a shit. Crane, what the Fucking hell, man. That isn't even a crane engine. This was an engine who thought that she was a crane because she wanted to impress Harvey. But she didn't impress Harvey, as Harvey rejected her on the grounds that she was an abomination, experiment, and didn't even have a crane for fuck's sake. Sliver, or is it meant to be Silver? This engine was another experimental import. Although it is not said where he came from, it is likely that he came from Venezuela. As you can expect, the experiment was shoddy. Not workable at best, only barely functioning. But he insisted that he was reliable and really useful, but he was anything but. So instead, they kicked him on the buffer and he just fell apart. Rerisy was both a combine harvester and a real engine. The farmer was on some serious alcohol problem, cracky McCrack-do, and so he decided, well, it might be a good idea to actually plough my fields with this thing here. If I can get me job done, that means I can have more time to go to pub. But the result was anything but successful. He was a complete fucking moron, mind. He couldn't even wipe his ass. I mean, even wipe the cord off his ass. Firiminon was the most stupid fire engine that ever existed. When it was time to fight fires, all he would say was blah la 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 la, fire, fire, blah la 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 la, fire, fire, blah la 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 la. Everybody got so tired of him that they decided to shove him in the sea. Donky, well, by the looks of her, the name was misleading, but her concept was more sound than the other engines we've been talking about. She was meant to be an experimental diesel multiple unit. Although she was plagued by faults, and she fared just as well as BR's advanced passenger train. Well, she wasn't really advanced to begin with. So after the experiment failed, she was just put into the sidings where she rusted. Okay, I've had enough.